Are you looking to level up your author business?
Are you pounding your head against a wall, wondering what your next step should be? Then join me, Daniel Wilcox.
And me, Sacha Black, as we haul ass each week in a bid to level up.
Level up!
Come along for the ride as we delve deep into the business of writing,
Craft,
entrepreneurship,
and every level of the author journey. This is the Next Level Author Podcast.
Hello, Achievers, and welcome to episode 25 of the Next Level Author Podcast, a podcast where we hold each other to account and track our step-by-step progress.
Better host, please.
As we level up our author business. My name's Sacha Black, and here with me every week is
Daniel Wilcox.
And you're actually here.
And what we haven't done ahead of time is worked out whether or not we're going to be looking at the camera.
I know.
Or looking at each other.
I know, we always do this, well, always, like it's a regular
Always.
thing.
The
It's
second
just
time we've done
I know. So for people listening who don't realise, we are actually in the same room, sat on the same bookcase bench as each other. This time we're in my other house, I nearly said apartment then, rather than your house. So, hey buddy.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, it's good. How
Yeah?
are you?
Good. I think I mentioned last week that I was doing a bit of an author on the road thing. So this is me being an author on the road. And I snuck by to see you as well.
Yeah. Obviously the most important person in your whole week.
Clearly, that's why you have the least amount of time.
Yeah, I know. Bastard. So I'm afraid we're going to have our phones because we're recording on
Waiting
one
for a call
computer.
from my doctor.
Yeah, or your is it your colonic irrigationist?
Colonic irrigation, yeah,
that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, they've run out of lube.
Yeah. Oh my god, this podcast has already gone downhill. So yeah, the point I was going to make. No, it's all right. Is that usually we have our running schedule and all our comments and stuff on screen. Unfortunately, they are on our phones today. So yes, for those who are watching on YouTube, that is why we are looking at our phones every so often. Okay, so check in. How has your week on the road been?
It's been good. It's been nice actually being able to travel around and see some friends, and I've managed to fit in work as I go along, but it has worked out a bit harder than, well, I was in two minds as to whether or not I'd be able to like really be disciplined with it and really make it work, or whether I'd let myself off a little bit with, you know, because a few of the people that I saw I've not seen in a long time, or I don't see that often. So
I sniff a forfeit. No, I'm kidding. The look you just gave me was spectacular.
So I've kept on top of stuff. We're recording this a day earlier, and I've already told you in advance that I had everything planned up until Friday. So I've still got 24 hours. If I have failed by tomorrow, I will dutifully do a forfeit.
Excellent.
Of course, that's the whole point of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been good actually traveling around, seeing people, and just reaping the benefits of this kind of work as well. And like for example, one of my friends went off and got a tattoo, and while he was having his tattoo done, I sat in like an outside cafe thing, just as it was Monday. It was just really, really warm weather. The sky was beautiful. Sun was going down. I just sat in the evening to do a bit of work while it's like.
I saw your post. I think it was on Instagram, and you had and I loved your like whiskey and fire.
Yeah.
I thought that was actually like a really classy photo.
Oh, thank you.
Well done.
Yeah.
Your photo skills are, you know. I'm just in our Facebook group because I can't actually remember what our accountability was. So I'm just gonna screenshot this so that we do actually know what we were supposed to be doing this week.
That's fine. But yeah, how's your week been?
Amazing. Well, okay, so it was really, really hard until yesterday. So for those who have been following the progress of me and my son, we did not have him in a school, and yesterday I accosted the postman, like literally accosted the postman. So he pulled up.
Oh yeah.
Like he pulled up outside, and my office faces the street. So I saw him pull up, and I was out the fucking house like a shot in my hot pants and tank top, like barely dressed. And I was like, yo, Posty, you've got posted me, haven't you? And he was like, oh no. And I was like, what? And he was like, I'm only joking. And I was like, you're a bastard. I like you. What a devious bastard. I loved it. But anyway, so he handed me a letter, and lo and fucking behold, we have a school place. Not only do we have a school place, this was yesterday, remember, my son is at school today. Fuck yeah. freedom. I have my life back. Like genuinely, like the end of this week, I'm not going to get much done. Like you're here, and tomorrow I've got back-to-back meetings and podcasts. But going forward, like I'm super excited for what that means for my time.
Yeah, just to set context for anyone who might be joining us for the first episode, makes you a terrible mother.
Yeah.
Do you want to? Just give a brief?
So, yeah, okay, so just to clarify.
Saving you.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, you shit mother, no. Okay, so I adore my son, obviously. I love my son deeply. But he's been, obviously because of lockdown and Corona, I have been full-time parenting more or less since March. No, not more or less, actually since March, because we moved house in June and the district would not allow us to have my son start school.
District 13.
This is not the Hunger Games. It might be later, but anyway. So the council area would not let me start our son in July. So we had to wait until September. So he's actually been off school for like 6-7 months. And he didn't start at school at the same time as everybody else. And it's been really bad for his mental health. Like he's genuinely suffered. Like he's much more of an extrovert than I could ever be. And he loves people. Ooh, and he loves I'm really joking, sort of. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, and he's really, you know, I've had days where he's been crying because he, you know, mummy, I don't have any friends, and you know, that's horrible. That is heartbreaking for me. And also he has a voracious appetite for learning anyway. So he is bright, and when I told him that he was going to school the next day, he literally screamed and ran around because he was that excited. So yeah, I am delighted because he, you know, is going to have routine and friends and the opportunity to learn, and also I'm going to have uninterrupted work time. Yay! I am also very, very, very fucking excited.
It's the power of routine, isn't it? Just knowing what's coming up rather than sort of being all over the place.
Yeah, and like, so I have less working time now than I used to. So previously, before all of this corona bullshit, I had like 7 to 8 working hours a day, because we put him in breakfast club, so I got an extra hour. So I usually work from 8 until 3, and then like occasionally, like, you know, my mum might have him or whatever, so I'd have like a little bit extra. Now breakfast club is already full because you have to get it like before term starts and stuff, but so I'm only going to get 6 hours a day to run more than a full-time business in. But it's fine because
you've been doing it on half an hour a day.
Exactly. So I'm just delirious. Like, it's amazing how much you appreciate what you are given or what you have when you've had so much taken away. So yeah, I am in a state of extreme gratitude right now.
Yeah. Boom.
So what are we supposed to do now? Oh, a thing of the week that you have enjoyed.
I'm just gonna go with traveling around, seeing some peoples. Nice. Yeah, just as simple as that. Just going on the road, being able to sort of catch up with some really good friends, just crashing at their houses and having fun, really.
Cool. This is a dick move on my behalf, I'm afraid. So I can tell you afterwards, but I can't tell everybody else. So one of the books that I have been judging for a very prestigious competition that I can't also name. Well, I might be able to name, but I haven't actually asked if I can talk about it, so I'm not going to. I've been enjoying one of the books, and it's really, really good, and I can't tell you about it. So once the competition's over and I'm allowed to talk about it, I will give you guys the link and tell you what it is. But yeah, it's really good. And
I mean, it's good that one of the books that you're judging is good.
Well, I didn't. Yeah, I mean, it's a mixed bag. It is a mixed bag. So
that's the thing I always find difficult about judging as well, because you have to look through a particular lens on behalf of the panel, but at the same time, obviously, you have your own preferences. So.
Well, they've given us criteria of what to look for, so that's what I'm basing my, like, it's good or it's not good on. So, but also my own enjoyment. Like, I think that's a big part of, you know, how much am I enjoying it? Therefore, does it match that criteria?
Yeah.
Okay, weekly confessional. Okay, let me get so you were supposed to, here we go, 1 second. You were supposed to have completed When Winter Comes 5 and put it in the hands of beta readers, picked the final stories for his anthology, and will keep in line with his production schedule.
Yes, to When Winter Comes 5. That went off to betas.
Betas, darling, betas.
Beta.
You're so northern.
It's Greek.
It is Greek. Okay, fine, it is Greek, but it's still beta. Anyway, keep going.
I mean, I grew up in Essex and I still called it Beta then, and Essex is more south than you'll ever be. What was the point? So yeah, it went off to Beta readers on Tuesday, and so I'm feeling good about that because that's brings me. I think originally with this book I was aiming for 7 episodes, but I do think that the characters are forcing me to go into an end now. So I'm going to do one more book in that series that might be a bit longer than the other ones, not longer than the first one. And wrap it up, so it might even be finished earlier than I planned, which is nice because I don't want to stretch out a story just for the sake of it. Yeah. And then with my anthology, I've narrowed down 177 submissions to 21. I've now narrowed 21 down to 16, and I've got the final 16 on my Kindle, and I'm rereading through them and making notes and trying to be a lot more critical because the first read was obviously just, is it
instant gut reaction?
Yeah. And that was actually one of the things I did. So what I did was any that I felt were good and had merit, I put into a folder called for consideration. Mm-hmm. And by the time that was done, I had about 30 stories in there. And then before I reread any of them, once I'd read through all the stories, I went straight to that folder. And what I did was I went to all of the titles where I could read the name and I remembered instantly what they were.
Mm-hmm. Can I suggest something?
Sure.
So do you still have the ones that are in for consideration?
Yes.
So I think you should differentiate your feedback.
I am.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, like, those that got into the full consideration
deserve to know they've done well.
Yeah, and like maybe if you can pull out 5 or 6 generic points, or 3 generic points to say, you got to this level because either you did X, Y, or Z, or you did A, B, or C. And then the same for those that didn't get even through the first loophole, just to say, the reasons are because either you did because you never get quality feedback like that.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to like individualize everything.
No, I don't think you should.
I totally agree that there needs to be something. And like I said last time, I'd like to make a point with my company of actually acknowledging people who have taken the time to send in stories, because I think the norm being, if you don't hear anything from us, then be checking if it's recording.
No, I was adjusting myself because I kind of like slipped down.
So the norm being that you just don't hear if you're unsuccessful. It just kills me. So I've narrowed it down to 16. Depending on story length, it could be anything from 5 stories to 8 stories that are picked. So I've got a few where I'm like, okay, I think I'm definite on these, and then a few that I'm playing around with. So that, and then production schedule. One thing I do need to do tomorrow is go very hard on words to keep up with that, because I didn't get as much done as I wanted to do this week. But
you have to get like 30,000 words written tomorrow.
12.
Oh, fucking hell. Seriously. Shit. That is a lot.
Make it happen.
You will make it happen. I have absolute faith. You can smash out like 8K with barely breaking a sweat. So I don't think 12 is going to be that hard for you.
We'll see.
It will be a stretch, but I have full faith that you can do
it's totally day dependent as well, because if you wake up and you've just not got energy, it's very difficult. But no, you're going to wake up and you're going to be buzzing tomorrow.
I'll be buzzing.
You are going to be buzzing. Be high for this conversation.
Yeah. Okay.
What was your accountability?
Sacha will finish the slide decks and make progress on her course. I did that. Yeah, I did. Yeah. So my friend is like proofreading them, and there was a couple of things formatting wise that she didn't like, so she is changing that for me. And I have made progress because I have recorded 1.5 modules as well. So I am making progress on that. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Read a lot of pages for her judging. So had I finished the first book last time we spoke? No. Okay, so I'm now 1.5 books through. In fact, 1.6 books through. And there's 5 books. So I'm probably a fraction behind where I want to be, but possibly a fraction ahead of where I thought I'd be.
Nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So and then complete 1 full edit of a whip. So by full edit, that you see those post-its up there, that's what I mean by an edit. Mm-hmm. And I completed about 12. So fuck yeah.
Nice. Smashing through stuff.
Yeah. So I don't get a forfeit this week. Beautiful. I finished a day early.
I'll check in with you tomorrow.
Yeah. Okie dokie. So let's have a look.
comments. That's over to you.
Over to me with comments. So last week's question was,
How do you hone your craft? How do you hone your craft?
Yeah. Yes.
Do you know what? I just don't realise I haven't actually formulated the question in my head, so I'm gonna have to like think in my brain now.
You meditate, okay. So how do you hone your craft? And Scott Kavanagh says, you had me with the word craft. This is something I find difficult to balance as a new author with limited time to spend on writing in between family and work. I love reading craft books, but don't find time to do all of the end of chapter drills or practice questions. I found workshops that have assignments that need handing in have been a better option for me, as the extra cost and deadlines force me to do them. I also focus on one thing that I'm going to practice when writing each story. That was one thing we didn't hit last week, was how to do it basically when you do have limited time, because Scott's right, you can't just go away and just machine gun everything that you want to learn. It has to be very, very deliberate. This is and I'm similar when I'm writing, particularly with short stories. There'll be a particular thing that I focus on, that I'm like, see if I can work this in or develop that. Victoria LK Williams says, I listen to audiobooks on craft podcasts and really pay attention to what my editor and beta readers have to say. Very, very key. Kerry Hardisky says, I just keep reading and writing. I have some great writing friends in my close circle that I trust as my alpha reader, so they see the real rough stuff and give great feedback. And then Edwin says, my biggest source of new or inciting material is the number of writing related podcasts in my listen queue. As I write or edit, I do my best to apply new bits of information that come my way. Resources such as the Emotion Thesaurus are a constant companion during these times. I have booked a content edit for my whip, knowing I will learn from the challenging feedback I can expect from my evil content editor. Edwin's editor, if you're listening to this, don't take that personally. But no, all fantastic. It seems to be obviously like the key parts are reading and writing, which I think is kind of like hopefully a given as a writer. But definitely just that part about deliberate and knowing what you're trying to adjust and looking for those key parts to develop yourself further. So that was
exactly. Now, question of the week that I still haven't formulated. Okay, so I might just ask the question, and then we might have to slightly rephrase it for the audience, I think, because I'm going to ask a question wide enough that you can answer like a number of ways. I'm not just shush, Sacha, get on with it. Okay, so the question is, what over the course of your life, what has your relationship with money been like?
I knew this was coming.
Yeah,
Okay, so the size out of the way.
Also, oh my God, I have released a book on money this week, so we should probably talk about that at the end. Will you remind me?
Okay, yes.
Oh, what a fail!
Very, very useful.
Yeah, what a relevant
Genuinely
question.
not planned.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so my relationship with money, I'm trying to think. So I don't think, all right, let me start, rather than starting from the beginning, I'll start at a point where I feel like everything.
You were born.
I was born 26th of March 1991 at approximately 12:30.
I love that we're both Pisces.
I'm an Aries, but that's fine.
Are you actually?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, yeah.
When's the cutoff? Are you only just an Aries? I don't believe that you're an Aries. How can you be an Aries? You talk. I'm going to check this.
So finance. All right. So I'll talk about the point where it actually, where it really started becoming a thing for me. So I was, bearing in mind, I am considerably younger than Sacha. So I was around.
To be clear, he's only 4 years younger than me. Yeah. I look so much younger than you, though.
So around 4 years ago, I started going through a lot of like reading. Let me just answer your question.
You're an Aries.
I fucking know. I told you.
Keep going. I'm really interested in your response. That sounded so sarcastic.
I'm really interested in your response. So, right. To answer the question. So around 4 or 5 years ago, I started reading a lot of like self-development books and stuff because life changed. I was becoming a manager, like all this kind of stuff where I was like, I want to better myself. I want to be the best possible XYZ that I wanted to be. And one thing that I have always struggled with, or particularly highlighted as much from when I was at uni, is the fact that I did just piss away money and I didn't have savings. I had like a couple of grand in like uni debt and things. I had a young child, and that obviously doesn't help with your income and stuff. So I read, what's his name? Because I can see it there. Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. and it kind of, it was one thing that just, it's so simple, but it just changed my perspective on money, because I think I'd grown up not really having much financial knowledge, and I'd never really been hard off for cash. Like, I don't want to make myself sound privileged. Like my parents were good to me, but I've always worked. Like the minute I turned 13, I got a paper round. And then when I was 15, I was working part-time in an estate agent, and I had a paper round that I was doing for other people. So I was 15, I was getting like 50 quid a week, which was awesome, like to me and my friends. And I always liked the idea of hustling for money and earning what I can get. And like, I'd rather know that I'd earned the money I got rather than like borrowing it from everyone.
Yeah.
So when it came around to uni, and obviously you get introduced to like maintenance loans and just like the actual uni debt that you get and everything else. Even then I was sort of working because I needed money, while a lot of my friends were, you know, on like different loans and things. And because my parents are, like I say, they are quite well off, but I don't get the trickle down effect of that. I've never asked or reached out or wanted that, because I've always wanted to stand on my own 2 feet. I don't know why. It's just part of who I am. And but even so, I discovered overdrafts. That quickly went at uni from like £50 in overdraft to like £2,000 in overdraft, which was like the top limit, just because I like holidays and nights out and different things. I'll earn it back. And it wasn't really until, you know, I got really, really sick of living on the breadline with me, my ex, and my son. And by breadline, I was literally like, we'd have to manage everything perfectly, like petrol, food, like we barely ate out. Like I couldn't buy, like, it was what's the word? It was a luxury to buy like a book for myself once a month, because it was rich. We had everything balanced just to the point where it was zero. And then I read this book and I was like, oh, so if you actually like find a way to get money working for you, and you build things that give you money back while you don't have to keep doing them, then you have a cushion of finance that you can keep leaning on while you do your other things. And just, if anyone's not read the book, it can be a dense book, and actually only a few parts of it I think are really like relevant. I think there's a lot of like unnecessary.
I have a book recommendation that I think is better possibly than that book, but keep going.
Okay. So yeah, kind of from then it changed a lot. And like, I'm definitely not perfect with money. It was only a couple of months ago that I actually cleared out all credit card debt. And actually I'm now back in a little credit card debt, but that's deliberate, and I feel a lot more in control of it, because in order to, I don't know if it's the same in America, but in order to get like all your credit scores up and for people to have like a track record and stuff, like I've got the top credit score now. And
and I don't, because I don't have a credit card, which is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
I've got no debt, no credit cards, and a shit credit score.
Yeah.
What?
It doesn't make sense. So yeah, I've now got the MacBook that I think I mentioned here recently. I'll put that on the credit card, and I'm chipping away at that each month, just so that I can prove to people I can pay stuff back. And I think it was definitely that book shifted things. And then I went to like a workshop that was based off of that. It was a scam. It was not a scam, but it was misleading. So it was like, come to this Rich Dad Poor Dad workshop, and it had these banners and everything. It was like free in Lincoln. So me and this other girl I worked with who read that book were like, yeah, okay, we'll go to that. And it was basically just a bunch of real estate agents trying to get you into like angel investing and real estate stuff and all these properties. But they were teaching the points then of like a woman saying, if I want to buy something new or expensive, I'll make sure I have a house that's earning me back money first. So my mindset has changed a lot more with it. But also one thing that has come from just, I guess, the last few years, the life that I've lived, is like, I'm not a person that lives lots of luxury. I don't need it. I'm a man of very, very simple pleasures. Like I'll spend money on books and things, but I won't like get the highest end of lots of different things, because I know I don't need it. Like the simple thing that's cheap will do. And I'm very, very happy with that. The one thing that I do need to work on, that I'm very aware is going to be contributing to my next level of authordom, is valuing myself to the point where I can become, say, a 6-figure author, because I've always been very, very happy around a certain income. And it's not that I don't believe I can go over that. It's just in my mindset, I'm like, but you don't need more than that, because you're living fine at the minute, if that makes sense. And that those sort of like numbers, it's always felt like other people earn that and not me. So I know, I definitely know there's like work that I need to do in terms of like making myself believe, because once you actually like believe that, I know you can unlock it and make that path towards it.
I so nearly asked a different question this week. I'm definitely going to ask that next time. Never mind. Keep going.
You'll forget. Write it down.
I'm not going to. I'm not going to. But go on. Keep going.
But yeah, so no, I know that there are different mentalities associated with being able to earn more money. Like a lot of people who I worked with, that say they were on, and I'm not pointing anyone out specifically, but say they're on like 25k a year. That's what they need. That's what they get, and that's what they feel they're worth. Like they'll look at like managers who are on like 35, 40, 50k, and they'll be like, no, I made 25. Like that's just where I live. And it's the thing that amazed me was when I actually looked into like the average, how the average income, the average salary for anyone.
Really low.
It's like 21k.
Yeah.
Which, you can live on, but it's not.
Who wants to live on that?
Yeah. So,
good.
And obviously for anyone listening who is on that, like, there's in no way we're disrespecting that at all. But it's definitely a case of
no. But I do think, when you have a salary that's over 50k or over 70k, like your happiness doesn't necessarily change, but life is easier. So like, for example, if your tire bursts or whatever, you don't have to worry about where, like when you're still earning like 15 grand or 20 grand or whatever, like I remember earning that and worrying constantly about if something was going to go wrong or the washing machine was going to break or whatever. So nice there is no disrespect. It is more about like stress, like financial stress on you.
It definitely needs to be a case of like, if I did get any extra income, I would automatically just spend it on stuff that I didn't really need, because they're just like, at one point I got a £400 bonus from my old job, because I got like some achievement award for basically being good at my job. And had that been me a year or two before, I would have like spent it on like a PlayStation or games or some stuff. And what I ended up doing with that was I ended up buying everyone on my team like a gift and then putting the rest of it away into savings.
That's so you.
I know. And like my mum, I was talking to my mum today, and she's basically, without going like into the ins and outs of how mum and dad work, my dad basically like got a bonus thing and gave her 300 quid. And in my head, and I know she's very different in different lives, but straight away she was like, I need to find something to spend this on. And she went out into the shops and she was moaning because she was like, I just couldn't find anything. I was looking for bags, I was looking for shoes, I was looking for this. And I came back, I spent £7 in Primark on this skirt that I liked. And I'm like, but you don't have to spend it. And like for me, I'm getting to a position where I want to look into like investing and finding ways to like put money away so it can make me money back. And I think we've spoken briefly about like the fact that we don't get pensions because it's self-employed. So we have to actively think ahead to the future. So I think in a very long-winded way, I've gone from believing money needs to be spent straight away, or money can be used as like a status symbol, and just getting rid of it, to being in a position in which you appreciate every scrap of money that you have, and now getting to a position where I'm trying to come to terms with the idea that I could potentially earn a lot more and trying to find a way to be comfortable with it.
Could potentially. No.
Nothing is guaranteed in this life.
No, you will.
Remember that.
No, you will. You will. Oh, you're done.
Oh, it's you.
Oh, okay. So
You're a Pisces.
You're in March, right? March babies are Pisces. Also, you're a creative, and I literally so many people I know who are creatives and writers
also
are Pisces.
Very stubborn and hot-headed.
Yeah, exactly. And but so am I. And come on, I'm like rage queen. It always surprises me that I'm not an Aries. Anyway, you're only just an Aries as well by 5 days. What was the question? Oh yeah, money. Okay, so I have had a very roller coaster relationship with money, so didn't have very much growing up. But my mum more or less protected me from that. So I always had everything I needed, and my mum would sacrifice things herself in order for me to go on school trips or whatever. So my mum was always very militant about money, and she would always say, save a third, spend a third, use a third. And that's how she's always gone through her life. And she is exceptionally good with money. I, however, went to uni and got loads of uni loans, because that's what you do. You have to pay for your thing, and
no one educates you on it before you go to uni.
Exactly. But like you, funnily enough, I also had a job from 13, and I continued to have a job. And I've only had one period in my life where I haven't. Two. So I had 2 periods in my life where I didn't work. The first one was most of my final year of uni, because I wanted to get a first past degree.
Cool.
And so obviously, oh God, that's so me, isn't it? Oh, now I feel so called out, whatever. Anyway, so my family supported me so that I could do that. So I didn't work for most of that year and I got my degree, so that's good. And then the other time was when I was on maternity leave, but I still had the job. I was just being a milk machine for 9 months. Anyway, so yeah, I have always had to work for money and earn it. And so I've always valued money. I have always felt like I should have a lot of money and I never seem to have had a lot of money. So I'm like different to you. Like I know I'm going to earn 6 figures and more. I know that. There is no question in my mind. That is something that I am 100% assured of. The problem is I still find it really hard to value myself. So there's this strange juxtaposition in that, like, I know at some point in my future I will earn that money. And it's funny, I was talking to Chris Kane on her podcast the other day, and like I know it literally because I'm going to do it to spite somebody I used to work for. So like literally the only reason I'm going to do it is because I fucking hate somebody I used to work for and they earn like a certain number, and I'm like, I will not fucking stop, I will not fucking rest until I beat them, just because then I will be righteous. And yeah, I'm like so petty. Anyway, no, also though, like I remember at 12 writing on my wall in my bedroom that I would have a 6-figure business. Like I still remember doing that.
Very different childhood.
I know, but like it's
Lord of the Rings is awesome.
But it was such an arbitrary figure. Like there is no reason for me having picked 6 figures.
It's 12-year-old. Go on.
I know. Oh, come on, like sure. We're all a bit weird, aren't we? And yeah, and I still remember it. But my reasons for that are that I want enough money to both like be able to give my son some inheritance, be able to look after my elderly arse, and also look after my mum. Because, you know, my mum has helped us buy this house, and so I know that she's going to need looking after, and I want to give her that. So that's, you know, it is an arbitrary figure, and I'm sure I could probably do it with slightly less money or whatever. But I have always got that in my mind, and I worry what my mindset's going to do when I get there, because just like having quit my job, I like spiraled afterwards, because you achieve such a massive goal, and then what? Anyway, that's for a different podcast. But yeah, so my relationship with money has been up and down, because as I was saying, I went to uni and I had uni debt, and I think I had about 16 grand of uni debt. And then we were told that I might not be able to have kids, and so we then had to spend loads of money on fertility treatments, which then turns out I was absolutely fine fertility wise, but we were already pregnant, had already spent another 12 grand, so that was then like another 12 grand in debt. And then because we had a kid, and my job required me to do regional work, so I was like driving all around the east of England. I had to buy a car, so I then had another 12 grand of debt, so I had like 45 grand's worth of debt, and it was fucking awful, because I was shelling out like 800 quid a month in debt repayments, and like that was basically all of my income, all of my spare income. And this is where our journeys merge. I also read a book, but I read The Barefoot Investor. I don't know if you've heard of it, by an Australian guy. It was amazing. And some of my financial journey had already been influenced by the indie world, and some was by that book. So that book kind of helped me to really consolidate like the debt things. And I think I ended up paying off 45 grand's worth of debt in about 3.5-4 years. Like, I don't really know how I did it, but yeah. Anyway, it all went, and then that enabled me to leave my job. But there are some principles that I took from it, and those are the things that I think I want to share. So for me, life is all about passive income.
Yes.
So, and I'm sure you guys get the like concept.
You're falling off the
Sorry. So you just want me to be close, don't you? So yeah, passive income. Yeah. So for me, it's about sitting here. We are sitting here and we are earning money. And that is fucking awesome. Yeah. And that's what I want. So I know I want to invest in properties and have also an investment portfolio. Sure. Yeah. And that's because, like the royalties.
Let's build a hotel.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, that we can have like writing retreats in. Fuck it. Let's actually buy a writing retreat building.
Let's talk.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, so yeah, so those are all passive income generators. And so I want to get to a point where I
You
have
talk
been...
to the camera now. I'm in another world.
Yeah, it's
Go on,
fine,
sorry.
it's fine. No, but I want to get to a point where I can choose to work. I don't have to work because I need to make sure I make ends meet each month. I want to get to a point where I have the power to choose if I want to work, or if I want to work in Bali or Thailand or wherever. So that's the first one. The second one is to always spend, no, always, wait, how does it work? So I want to always need as little as possible. Yes. So I guess like the FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early. I minimize your expenditure. Yeah, minimize your expenditure. So one of the ways I got out of debt one of the ways I got to leaving my job was by requiring as little as possible.
Hell yeah. That's such a huge, just pause there, because I think that's one of the biggest obstacles that people face is a lot of people who they're desperate to leave their job and get to a position where they can write. I think it's something so simple that a lot of people just don't think of is, well, if you need less, then you just need less.
Yeah, and it's easier to earn less than it is.
Absolutely.
So like in the finance book, I think I use $2,000 as the figure. Like, let's say you need £1,200 to live, to pay your mortgage or rent, to pay your food bills, your gas and electric, all of that stuff, to give you like, and some money in there for expenditure, for fun things. If you then have 800 quid, like I had 800 quid that I was paying off every month, you actually need $2,000 every month. Earning $2,000 as an author is a fuckload harder than earning £1,200 a month. So like, that's the example that I like to give, to say, you know, actually one of the quickest ways to leave your job to be able to do this full time is just to need less money and therefore pay off your debt. And then I suppose those two are probably the biggest ones. Like, there are lots of other little money mindset things that I've done. And one of the things that Robert Kiyosaki, or what his name is, Kiyosaki, says is that there are two kinds of money problem. Either you have too much money or not enough money, and you get to choose which one you want. I definitely want too much money. That is the problem.
I definitely want too much money.
I have that on my desk. That's what that pink post-it is on my computer.
There are two kinds of money. There it is.
Which problem do you want?
Yeah. See, one of my, what was a worry and isn't a worry anymore so much for me, is I know people who have gone from zero to having lots and lots of money, and it's fundamentally changed who they are as people into people that I don't really like. And that's one thing that I did worry about of myself. But I can't remember who said it, but there was something I listened to at one point, I think it's some podcast, was basically saying that people who rise and get lots and lots of money, basically money doesn't change a person, it just highlights who you are. So if you're basically a dick when you were poor, you're going to be an uber dick when you're rich, and vice versa. If you're like a nice person when you're poor, you're going to be.
I think it also matters why you want money. I want money to be able to help my family and you know that we don't have to worry about needing a tire or a new washing machine or whatever. Like, that's why I want money. And also to be able to give my son experiences that my mum gave me. Like, when I was a kid, I got to go to Russia and Israel and and we had fuck all. Like, honestly, we had no money and I still had those experiences. And that's because of how hard my mum worked. And that's why I want to be able to give that to my son. Like, I would love to be able to take my son away for 6 weeks every summer, you know, just because we can. And because my business is flexible enough to do that. But also the other thing that I want to say about money is that you know how like we talk about things that you want, you need to, almost like a mantra, like have it in your life. So I think about money all the time. Like I think about, I read finance books, I look at investing options, I keep money in my mind, and I always try to attract money to me. So and I think that's one of the reasons that, like, and also, like, I know this is really hippie, but I genuinely sometimes, when you're like, oh my god, I really need like X amount of money because my fucking car coolant thing's just gone, true story, boom, speaking gig, here's another 500 quid. And that, like, I genuinely think that does happen, like, if you put it out in the world. So we have whittled on for quite a while.
I think one extra thing I do want to say, just to before we round it out, is that there was a long period of time, particularly when I was sharing money with someone else and raising a kid and all that, where I genuinely believed that, like, I was just shit at money and I would just never get good at it. And
that is a really bad mindset to have.
And because money was just slipping through our fingers and nothing we could do, and what it actually turned out to be was basically a manifestation of the fact that we couldn't communicate, which came out that we were just spending money at stupid things and weren't really talking about it. But now I'm in a position where I'm still not 100% with money, but I've learned to overcome those obstacles that were stopping us, and stopping me particularly thinking that I just couldn't deal with money. And like, I'm not perfect with it now, but I'm definitely a hell of a lot better than I am, and it just takes time to.
Yeah, oh my god, let me completely agree with you, because like I know I talk a good game, but like I'm not wealthy by any means. You know, like I still struggle to save.
To see all the shit behind the camera. Like,
stop it. No, but like genuinely, that's my biggest blocker now, is being better at saving or investing or, you know, whatever. Like, and this is why I think my savings is going to be by investment. So like if I have a goal to like buy a second house in X many years, I will be very able to save the money to do that, but then I'll have to spend it on the house, like because I still struggle not to spend money, but I only spend money that I have. So, but anyway, my point is that I am not perfect. I will have to work on that my whole life, and that's okay. I've, you know, come to.
I'd be so interested in reading a book about your financial journey.
Oh,
was that a genuine? Have you forgotten already?
Oh, you're amazing, Richard. That's so funny. What a coincidence. Okay, so guys, that one,
One has money in it.
Yeah, you're just taking all my fucking books on the table. So yeah, it has cut it off on the top and the bottom. Poor Jay's name is like half cut off, and so is Personal Finance. But anyway, this is my latest book. So 9 Things Career Authors Don't Do, Personal Finance. I co-wrote it with Jay Thorne, who is an absolute legend. And yeah, so
I have read this, and it is very, very enlightening. So I know that none of this was like, it sounds really cheap. None of this was actually planned.
No, no.
But there's
that's the hilarious thing.
I'll put that in a second.
Yeah,
but yeah, there's a lot of just generally like useful, practical stuff.
And like mindset stuff, and also stuff. You know, I shared a lot of personal things about my own personal journey.
Yes.
And so yeah, like it is a deep insight into psyche and money and how you can get out of your job quicker, I suppose, as well, and just a bit of a kick up the arse, which is very on brand for me. I think.
Where can people get the book?
Oh yeah, on Amazon. So this one at the moment is in Kindle. Yeah, it's in Kindle Unlimited. So at the moment it's only on Amazon. It may or may not go wider later, but yes, if you would like to read it, which you really should, then you can go get it on Amazon. So back to our running order. Oh my god, like it opened up to your fucking star sign again.
Yay!
I still can't get over the fact I feel so disappointed. My whole life is a lie. I genuinely thought you were a Pisces.
I don't understand what's happening.
How are we going to level off our business this week, darling?
I think we need to have quite the conversation. So I will need to, because I will have picked all my stories, I'll need to contact all of the authors, let them know what the deal is, and also get considerably through edits or possible edits for the book and putting that together. And at the same time, I'll say I will have done 5K of my productivity book as well.
Wow. 5K new or 5K total? Just so that we're clear. 5 new 1,000 words.
I'm on 1,000 at the minute.
Okay. So this week I will only have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because I'm not counting today or tomorrow. So I have 4 days. Anyway, I will.
To do what?
Well, because like tomorrow's gone with like podcasts and meetings,
okay.
So I'm saying I have less time. So I'm trying to measure what I do so I don't have a forfeit.
But it's Thursday today.
Yeah, I know.
Go on. You
I don't understand what your point
nothing.
is.
What are you going to get done?
What is going on? No, I'm joking. I'm Daniel. Anyway. Yeah, you spend most of your life like that. Okay, so I am going to do more edits on Trey. Haha. And I'm going to continue working on the course, filming and stuff.
Sweet.
Cool. That's it.
Beautiful.
What's
what
the
we
question?
asking the,
Yeah, how should we word it?
What is your relationship with money or finance?
That's simple.
I think so.
Fine.
What is your relationship with money?
Okay. Bye-bye.
Hungry for more?
If you enjoyed this podcast, you can hear more of my angelic accent and Dan's dulcet tones on our other podcasts.
For more of me, check out the Great Writers Share podcast.
For more of me, listen to the Rebel Author podcast. We'll be back next week holding each other to account as Dan
and Sacha
become
Next level
authors.
Controversial.
World's controversial.
I like a bit of controversy.
I'm just going to text while you do stuff.